95.7 The Hog. Hey, it's Friday. It's time for the Homegrown Happy Hour and Riggs and guys. Brew Review with Vinny, SR, Barat. Vinny, serve. Boom. Well, pop that one up. Catch it. Just catch it. Oh, man. You
got him right in the gut.
Man, he's good. You're good at this game.
I think you just cracked your floor again, but
that's, by the way, how beer pong's supposed to be played right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
now you drink.
And you have brought a special guest.
Yes, I have.
Who is it?
I brought Anthony from Hofbrau.
It's here for Anthony. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Sounds very German, Hofbrau.
It is very German.
Oh,
so we actually haven't done any imports. We've done wine. We've done spirits. We've done crafts. We've done seltzer water. We've done Hefeweizens. We've done everything, American Hefeweizens. So now it's time to show you what the Germans can do.
Okay.
So, brought Anthony in. If you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about yourself first, Anthony, and then we'll get in and start pouring beer.
Absolutely. Guys, thanks for having us on. We're really appreciated to be here and talk about the wonderful brand of Hofbrau. So just a background on myself, been in the beer business for 13 years, not as long as Vinny, but I'm getting up there with them. So originally from St. Louis, Missouri, so obviously grew up with beer.
Ooh.
I think my first beer was a Busch beer, about 4 years old. You
Yeah.
know? It's how you do it. It's how you do it when you're young in the Midwest growing up, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Lake of the Ozarks, Dad, can I have a beer? You know, sure, son, get the beer out of the cooler. And that was a pull tab back then, so show them age a little
that's
bit.
dangerous,
Yeah,
too.
pull
Yeah.
tab, you could swallow those.
I was going to say, you didn't try to swallow it, did
You
you?
can lacerate your
I
finger.
didn't swallow it, but I know some people that probably had some serious injuries with that back in the
Yeah,
day.
no kidding.
Yeah, so obviously always had a love for beer and wanted to get in the beer business. So I actually started off with a Miller Coors wholesaler in St. Louis. Did that for about 8.5 years and wanted to keep my beer career going on a little bit more. So actually left them and went on to work for a small brewery called Anheuser-Busch.
Yes,
and
heard of them.
obviously in my home area. And
Right.
did a bunch of work with them and then got into the craft scene a little bit. And was very fortunate. They moved me down to Florida from St. Louis. So
Right.
no more ice, no more snow. Get away from all that good stuff up there. And was in the West Palm Beach area for about 2 years. And then currently I'm over in the Fort Myers area. And in February, Hofbrau decided to create their own sales division. And they said, hey, Anthony, you want to run Florida? I said, absolutely.
Yes,
So,
please.
So we're pretty excited because they were with a different wholesaler that was a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So they decided to move to a larger wholesaler. So they contacted the Miller Network through the state of Florida and decided to also, you guys are with another distributor too,
Sure,
right?
we're with another smaller
distributor in certain territories because not everybody always wants to play.
Right.
So we took them on board now about 2 months.
Probably about 2 months, 2.5 months.
About 2.5 months. So we're starting to slowly roll it out there, kind of keep going what was going before and expand them. So we're pretty excited.
What is the craft game in St.? I would think, because basically Anheuser-Busch owns that state, right?
Absolutely.
Is there a craft game there?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, obviously, craft beer has been in St. Louis well beyond. I mean, Florida's obviously still kind of a newer state with the craft scene, but there's a brewery, Schlafly Brewing Company. I mean, I think they've been up there for over 25 years. And there's a lot of other breweries that have started popping up. And, obviously, it's still a very strong Anheuser-Busch market up there.
Yeah.
But definitely the craft scene has definitely bloomed up there.
Good.
And same thing as Florida. I think it's not just those two places. It's all over the United States. The craft boom is definitely blown up.
That's good. It's not like the giant is squashing all the little guys. That's
No.
good to know.
No,
That's
no,
happening.
absolutely
Yeah,
not.
good.
We actually had a meeting yesterday, and we were told that Florida is the third highest beer selling state in the country now.
Really?
Yep, absolutely.
Nice.
Rob,
Yep.
you're welcome.
It's here for Florida.
You're welcome. So you know what that means. We all have to drink a little more to get to first place. But
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
we should do it.
We'll do we got our work cut out for us today.
Absolutely. We
So
get it going and get it all set up.
I've got a question about Hofbrau. Now, it's a German brewed beer,
Absolutely.
and is it their version of a craft, or is it their version of
Well,
mass-produced?
these guys have been around for what about?
1589.
Yeah, they've been around since 1589. So, if that answers your question there, but they've been around for a long, long time. You guys are on the part of the able to celebrate the Oktoberfest, right?
Correct, yeah. We're one of the original true German breweries over there that we're still allowed out of 6 breweries to celebrate Oktoberfest, where we have our big tent.
Okay.
And obviously there's a lot of drinking over there during the September to October months.
Speaking of drinking,
Yeah.
let's start.
Absolutely.
Thought you
No
never
kidding.
ask.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the Hofbrau Original.
Okay.
I'm going to let Anthony talk a little bit about it.
We're going to party like it's 1598 up in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Awesome. So first beer we're going to try today, guys, is our Hofbrau Original. This is our beer that pretty much makes up a good percentage of our sales, about 70% of our sales, a little bit more. Good thing about this beer, it's a beer that you definitely can consume more than one. 5.1% alcohol. It's a nice Helles-style lager. Very crisp, clean, refreshing. One thing that's great about this beer is when I actually first was selling it in St. Louis, it was being imported in green bottles. And
really?
If we all know about the bottles and stuff, the clear, the green, the brown. Brown's always the best one to go with.
For anybody who doesn't know, green is more apt.
Basically, it keeps the sunlight out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say any other brands out there that are in the green bottles, but a lot of times when you get that beer, you get kind of a little bit more of a skunkier flavor just from the light struck on the bottle. So when they switched to the brown bottle, when I came on board, I was very happy with that. So, like I said, if you look at this beer, very clean, crisp. Like I said, it's beer. It's basically a lager. Lagers are definitely a lot harder to brew than your typical ales.
Right.
And you can't hide anything, in a lager.
Yeah.
Also, I believe with the history, if I remember correctly, the imports came out with the green bottles to separate themselves from the American bottles that were in there. And they wanted people to, when they looked at a cooler, they wanted to say, oh, look, green bottle, different, separate, import. So you associate that, higher cost, let's pull it out and go. And I believe that's why a lot of the imports
some are still actually in the green bottles.
In the green bottles, yep. Absolutely.
This is quite amazing. But I have a question. It's common misconception that German beer is served room temperature.
So, I mean, obviously the American version over here, everybody's like, give me cold beer. A lot of these bars give me a cold, ice cold mug. That's actually not the proper way to serve a beer. I mean, obviously you're going to lose a lot of the flavors and stuff like that. So, I mean, yes, over in Germany you might get a little bit more, slightly warmer, especially at the Oktoberfest.
Right.
Those girls are walking around with 1 liters, and yes, the beer's going to warm up over there. But personally for me, I don't mind it warming up a little bit because you do actually get more of the flavor out of the beer.
Yeah.
So what happens?
Hot stuff with the cold.
Absolutely. So what happens is, think about eating ice cream, right? You're eating strawberry ice cream. The first couple spoonfuls, you taste the strawberry. Afterwards, your palate's numbed. You really don't taste it.
Right.
So that's kind of what the thing is go ahead and numb that palate so you're not tasting how bad that beer is, or if there's there's no real flavor to it. So that's why a lot of times they want you to drink it super cold. But that's why when you get into crafts and some of your imports, you want to open them up a little bit. You want them to get a little bit warmer to open those flavor profiles up, so that when you're drinking that beer, your palate gets everything and you can fully enjoy it.
It's like it unfolds.
It's not like any beer I've tasted. It's not.
You've probably had a lot of imports over time, and like I said, a lot of them you get that kind of the skunkier flavor. And this is
this isn't skunky.
Refreshing.
No,
Yes.
This is one that you could sit by the pool. You could go to a concert.
Like you said, you can see where quantity will become a thing
Yes.
with this. Yeah, you could have a bunch of these. Yeah.
Got him.
Doesn't work again.
We brought plenty.
Is that the first stealing of a beer?
It is. I think you're the first one to steal the beer on that.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, all right, we got him.
So overall, what do you think, guys?
Very good, very smooth, very easy, and this is the one product that I've had before, so I know.
So you can
I
compare it
know
up a
that
little
you
bit,
can
huh?
have a bunch of these.
Absolutely.
And it seems like you've had one
Firsthand.
for a minute. Then,
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Firsthand, have you had that
yeah.
experience?
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell that story after the camera stuff. So anyway,
I
great,
enjoy
though.
all beers, but this is one I would definitely go out of my way to purchase.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
So right now, pretty much, we do serve it in draft, obviously offerings,
Yeah.
and then we also have in the bottles.
So-
sneak peek next year,
Cool.
maybe looking at a can option.
Oh,
okay.
Which obviously we're in the Florida states, so beaches, poolside.
And we all
Wow.
know what's the best container for beer? Our can.
cans.
Absolutely. So, the cool part is we started doing these brew reviews a little while ago.
Yeah.
And when I first got here, these guys were huge IPA. And now they're been really opening up.
Yeah.
Guy's been getting into the sours, and Riggs has been getting
Mess
into
around
the
with some
sours.
lagers and sours and
some
things.
lagers.
Sure.
So it's nice. That's why it's important to try, guys. That's why it's always important to try different beers and get out there and roll with them.
The circle of life of beers.
Yep.
you know.
So this is the original. This is available in package.
Okay.
It's available right now at Mr. Dunderbox. It's available at ABC. It's available at Total Wine. It's available at a lot of your local independent liquor
Right.
stores. And then the draft is out there as well. A lot of your German spots will have them on draft. And it's a great beer. So
It's tasty, very tasty. All right, there are two other, and now I'm in unknown territory.
All right.
So
You
I've
haven't
not
been to
tried-
these yet?
No,
all right.
so I'm going to be.
This is going to be the
Virgin territory.
Hofbrau Hefeweizen.
Okay.
So we've actually had a few American Hefeweizens that were
Right.
German style.
Okay.
So we're actually going to go with the German style Hefeweizen.
Okay.
I'm going to let Big Man talk about this a little bit. And there's a cool little history piece that goes with this as well.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So, I mean, just to give you a little brief history, I'm not a history teacher, so I'll give you
okay.
kind of the little shorter version of it. So, brewery started in 1589. Basically started by Duke William V. Basically, he was not happy with the beer that was being made in his hometown, so
Right.
he said, you know what, screw it, let's open up a brewery. So, basically, these guys obviously have been doing it for a while, so they opened up their own brewery. They use the German purity law.
Okay.
So if people don't know what the German purity law is, basically just using the barley, hops, water. Very simple. There's
Right.
no lot of.
You can't use wheat. You can't use anything.
Like you said earlier, no tricks, right? You can't hide
No,
anything.
you can't
So,
hide
yeah,
anything.
okay.
You can't add, pomegranate or
Okay.
apricot.
Yeah.
The
Gotcha.
flavor of your beer. It's. I mean, yes, you could put it in while you're drinking afterwards, but
Yeah.
during the brew's made, it's not made with any of those type of
Excellent.
things in it. So, basically, in 1602, one thing that Hofbrau did, they actually did take over with the Hefeweizen, they kind of became the kings of the Hefe. So
Okay.
this beer came out, as you can see it, lift it up. It's going to be a little bit more cloudier
Yeah.
than the original.
Right.
If you look at, what I like to do is get a little bit of a smell of it.
Oh, I like.
What do you guys smell?
Well, there's definitely either like a lilac or a fruity thing happening in there. Some bouquet.
That's the yeast esters. You're
Yes.
getting the fruitiness from the yeast esters.
Gotcha. A lot of people, when they smell it, they'll be like, I get some banana clove flavor.
Little
Yeah.
bubble
Oh,
gum.
No,
Little
but I get the
bubble
banana
gum.
taste for sure. Yeah.
So, and then when you drink this,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Hefeweizen stands for wheat beer.
Yes. Yep.
I just looked it up.
Here I am sitting here going,
Larry Builder of
man,
the
he's
day right
listening
there.
and
Yes,
he's
you got all the
studying.
notes here.
Oh, man. But
Well, one thing that's great about this beer, I mean, living in Florida,
Yeah.
we're a very hot state. So
Yes.
this is one of those ones, again, you sit out by the pool, you can drink a lot of this all day long.
Yes. I feel like this
Refreshing.
is. Yeah. I was gonna say it's very refreshing.
That's a great word to say. Refreshing
what's the ABV
beer.
on this one?
So the first one was 5.1. This
Yep.
one's also 5.1%
Okay.
alcohol.
All right.
It just shows you don't have to go overboard to get your 10, 12% alcohol.
Right.
beers. You can just enjoy a nice 5.1%.
Well, it's big with the Germans were big on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell everybody, they perfected the pilsners and they perfected the lagers. They did an amazing job with it. The Belgians did a great job with the ales, and they threw everything but the kitchen sink in. And then the Americans came along and we threw the kitchen sink
Yeah.
in. So
We talked last week about unfiltered too. Is this
That's unfiltered.
This is
Unfiltered.
unfiltered,
Yep.
right? Okay,
So you
obviously.
get some of those proteins hanging in there,
Yeah.
and that's what's going to give you those little
love
different
it.
flavor
Sure.
profiles.
I'm all about
Absolutely.
unfiltered
A
now.
lot
There's
of times
nothing
with
wrong.
the bottle is what you'll want to do is you'll want to roll the bottle.
Yeah.
Kind of mix it around a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
And you'll pour it in, and then like right before you pour that last little bit, you kind of shake it up and then kind of
Yeah,
pour
you
it in.
kind of
Oh, wow.
do one of these numbers with it, and
That's
kind of
that's
roll.
a proper. There's a
The proper
purpose to do that.
presentation to pour the beer.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll
So
take it.
I don't know how this is going to sound, but when I smell
There
this,
you go.
Okay.
I imagine this is how a German bar would smell.
Okay.
Is that odd to say?
Well, I will let you know from experience. I'll let you know after October this year.
Yeah.
He's heading out to
Oh,
Germany.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm heading over to.
Do you have an
Oktoberfest.
extra large suitcase you can
On
fit me
premise.
in?
Yeah.
If you can fit into it, you're more than welcome to come.
I had a story one time about a bar that was playing German music. They were playing Rammstein, but it did not smell anything like this beer.
Du hast.
Yeah, yeah. It was a whole different smell, a lot of latex.
I'm sure it was a
Soap,
whole people
yeah.
wearing diapers.
You're
That's probably a whole different
I can't
thing.
even tell that story now, but suffice it to say, this is much better.
Absolutely.
Any of that.
And
But
I
this-
don't.
There's
don't-
a lot of flavor going on in this
lot of
thing.
flavor
down
going on there.
Yeah.
That's like he talked about that banana yeast or the banana clove is coming from the yeast. You're getting that real,
Okay.
real good flavor from that. Just a hint of banana, a little bit of that clove, and then sometimes people pick out bubble gum on the back of that as
Yeah.
well. So it's just real nice and clean and easy. And it's one of those beers that you drink again and go, man, I forgot how good the Hefes are.
You
So,
appreciate the
You do.
tradition with the
doubt.
Absolutely.
Hefeweizen.
I've had Hefeweizens before, but this is definitely I've never tasted this kind before.
probably more than Americanized.
Yeah, I
Hefeweizens,
would.
so.
Yeah, this actually very pleasurable.
Yeah.
It is very, very nice.
And these
It's
beers you
very
can
good.
always pair with food too. I mean, that's obviously a big thing now of doing food pairings with beer. It's your great beers to pair. with
Mr.
food.
Pairing, what would you do? What would you do
What,
with the Hef?
with the
Hefty?
Hefeweizen?
Yeah.
Nice salmon or something.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
salmon
Good
with a
salmon.
nice chutney on top of it, or something. Or
little
I don't know if you
citrus
guys saw the pictures of the red snapper I caught last
I
week.
do.
was
Huge.
cross-
It got a
wasn't that
huge
awesome?
fish. It was almost like
There was-
it was almost like a demon fish.
It was great, and not only did I catch him, all 20 people with us from the office caught him. We
Yeah.
went out on the boat, pretty much.
You all caught the same fish?
Yeah, we put him back and caught him again. You
got
son
a
of
magnet in it. Yeah.
Leave it to Guy. out of left field. Boom! Right in the
It's
side of
Vinny
that.
Zinger of the
So
day.
he got zinged. Now we all caught him. We went on a little excursion, and we were supposed to be out until like 3:00 in the afternoon. And an hour in, everybody was done. He just put it in the water, pulled it out.
Yeah.
It was like crazy. We cooked it that night. It was amazing. So I would actually do that with this,
Yeah.
with the Hefeweizen. Bring some of those good flavors out
Absolutely.
from that fish. Yep. So.
I'm just, and again, I'll say something that I might regret later. I'm craving bratwurst now.
Oh well, hey.
You know,
You know?
little sauerkraut,
You know, like a spicy brat. Yeah. Say. You know what?
Do we have any brats?
Yeah. No.
No?
He wants one of those brats.
All right.
The
We'll
brats.
order in. We'll order in some
Absolutely.
brats. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we should have done. We should have bought one of those little roller things and threw it on here. We can have brats every time.
Your idea of a roller and my idea of a roller are two different
Two different
things.
things.
It only took 2 beers to go there. I didn't think- that's
What do we have next?
All right.
The last one we have with us is the Hofbrau Dunkel. This is
Okay.
actually my favorite by them. I love the other ones, but this is truly my favorite. So.
all right.
So yeah, I mean the Hofbrau Dunkel. This one's actually starting to gain some legs down here. Just a lot of people have never tried it before. So it's going to be a dark lager.
Okay.
When you pour it out, you can see it's a little bit darker than obviously the original or the Hefe. I'll wait till everybody gets their beers. So a little darker. Get a little bit more of a
Yeah.
kind of a caramel, more maltiness.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody has their own different words they use for describing beer. Some are different.
I'd actually pair this up with a good barbecue outside.
Yeah.
Yep.
Getting a nice barbecue ribs or something on the.
So still new to Florida here. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to brag, but I'm from Missouri, so
Yes.
we kind of know barbecue.
You got
up there.
experience, I understand,
We
yeah.
Kansas City and
Oh,
St. Louis.
whatever.
So
I've heard that on TV before.
Whatever.
So I mean,
You haven't had barbecue till you went out in the swamp, killed a gator, drug it in, cut his
All right.
tail, and cooked it on the grill. That's barbecue.
Are we doing that later today?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
So,
And I'm from New York.
The brew review on the road.
that
Yeah.
was good though. I'm not going back to Fort Myers tomorrow. So,
right.
So I mean, we got
Oh.
time.
That or
Go
you,
gator fishing.
that or you haven't been in my backyard. Now,
Nobody's been in your backyard lately.
Dunkel in German means dark.
Dark.
So yeah,
Yes.
if you look at it, like we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
a little bit darker.
And it is a lager,
Oh,
so it's
that's
going to be
good.
a little bit drier.
Yeah.
Even though they're using more of the roasted malts to have that caramel, it's going to be a little drier. Won't be as sweet. So you're going to get a really
yeah.
cool flavor on the underside of it. Not too bitter.
Yeah,
it's
not
going to round it out.
chocolatey or,
not
Some people
chocolatey or
say
not.
like a baked bread flavor.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
Not
they're-
not heavy
No,
as
not
well,
heavy,
which is
but like I
nice.
said, everybody has their own flavors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I get baked bread.
Yeah.
That's good.
I just had a lady on my computer tell me how to say it.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
Dunkel.
Oh.
Dunkel.
Good.
But type in Dusseldorf.
No.
Hey, type in go to Google. Type in what does the fox say?
No.
That's a good idea, actually. Right,
Have you
Bob?
done that lately?
My computer
yeah.
will shut off.
Of course. Told we had to have the computers replaced. So this is not. This is a. Would this be a seasonal?
No.
Or no?
So basically, all 3 beers that we're trying here today, unfortunately, we weren't able to bring the famous seasonal.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
can talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are all 3 year-round beers.
Okay. Cool.
One thing that's great about these beers is that the shelf life is wonderful. A year
Yeah.
shelf life on these beers.
Really?
I mean, so a lot of the beers out there,
Wow.
a little bit short of a shelf life.
Why
you
is
know,
that?
Just the quality into the beer.
Yeah.
They take pride. I mean, they've been doing this since 1589, so
Okay.
the beer can last longer. Now, obviously, there's different rules and regulations. I mean, if you put it in a cooler in the hot sun and leave it out there for 2 months, yeah, it's going to be effective. But
Right.
if you keep it stored properly,
Yeah.
keep it in your fridge, I mean,
Right.
the beer is going to be good for a year.
So
Awesome.
a lot of misconceptions. Beer doesn't go bad to make you sick when it's out of code. That doesn't happen.
Okay.
It's
It's a Best Buy
alcohol.
date. It's a
Right.
suggestion.
Yes. So what happens is a lot of your IPAs, well, the hops will fall off after a while. So what they want you to do is drink that in a smaller amount of time
Yeah.
to keep that freshness from the hops. If you drink it afterwards, it's still going to be fine, but you're not going to get that hop bite that you would get in the
Okay.
early stages of that beer.
Gotcha.
That's why a lot of these guys they're using the lagers and the ales, and they're not using a ton of hops. So they're not worried about the fall off. They're not worried about any of that kind of stuff. So it's going to last, and it's going to roll with it. So when if you grab, I age a beer. I had a 10-year-old stout that I had aged.
Yeah.
It was an imperial stout, 10.5%. I opened it up at a wedding, and we poured it, and it was amazing. So it's one of those deals where they want it to be sold by then because they want you to have the freshest experience possible.
Well, I'm not going to say what brand, but I've had a couple cans of beer in my fridge, I'd say for about 6 months now. They're still good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're cans, right?
And they're cold. They're cans. They're cold. They're good. You haven't put them out in the sun. You haven't put them out in the heat. You haven't done any of that stuff with it. So
you always have the, like my dad. It's cold. It's been cold for a year. It's fine. They don't care.
Right. Well, you mentioned the purity laws earlier too. Is that something that obviously dictates the quality and keeps it?
Like I said, Vinny made a good comment earlier. These guys, they can't really mess up with these beers at all. You can't hide anything.
Yeah.
Let's say someone's brewing a double IPA and they're like, you know what, this tastes off. I'm going to throw a little pineapple or apricot, and they can kind of tweak that beer. You can't tweak these beers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The hardest beers to brew are the lagers like this.
They take the longest.
Yep, and they take the longest. They actually, because the yeast settles at the bottom of the tank at a colder temperature, it takes a little bit more time for that yeast to consume those sugars. And what it does is it consumes more sugars than the ales consume. So that's why your lagers are usually drier and your ales are usually a bit sweeter.
Okay.
The ale yeast hangs at the top of the tank, and it consumes less of the sugars, so you can put it back in and redo it.
But you're seeing a lot of craft breweries where they were brewing ales for years, and now they're starting to get into the lager scene a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a lot of the American
starting to get into lagers. And but like he said, one of the tough things is if you're a small brewery, a lager will take your tanks up. It takes your tanks up for twice as long as it will the ales. Okay. So you got to make sure you're in a good place to get those out to get them rolling.
Yeah, you better know what you're doing. Right?
Absolutely. And that Hunks of Booth law. There's of course the German purity law, great law. They want to make sure everything was brewing, but there's some other stuff behind that. They looked at it as it was an easier way to tax people. So they can tax you on the barley, and they can tax you on the barley and on the yeast, and on the hops. I'm sorry, but they also said, I don't know if you heard this, but if you read the books, they also said that one of the reasons why they put that into effect is they didn't want people using the wheat because they wanted to make sure that the breads were made and that kind of stuff was made. So they had that for eating, and then you can do the barley for that.
That's
so
probably
a couple
15 or
different
1600s those were put into effect.
That was very important.
Very
absolutely, because you got to look back then. They didn't have the ability to make food in a petri dish. They have to.
The original Florida purity laws did not involve me in a Speedo. Now they do.
Now they do.
Now they do, which I found out the hard way. Right over there in New Smyrna Beach.
Let's see his Speedo.
Shot right there.
Next episode, right?
If you guys want to check out more, you can go to hofbrauimports.us. That's HOFBRAUHAUS import.us, or you can go to srprot.com.
Another great thing about these guys is we talk about tasting rooms all the time.
Yeah.
And you figure they're in Germany. Where's your closest tasting room for us here?
Okay, yeah, so I'll kind of just go on that. So back in 2003, there was a vision to basically build some replica beer halls over here, basically like Munich.
Right.
And so there's a division over here that they've opened up the Hofbrau houses, and some are like Hofbrau beer halls. So first one actually was in Newport, Kentucky. So basically it's like a replica of the one over in Munich.
What a bizarre city.
Yeah.
What a strange city.
Right, it's right by Cincinnati, but apparently they get a lot of traffic through there.
Yeah.
So, just to kind of tell you a little bit, little cheat notes when these
Please,
guys all
bring
came.
notes.
So, so 2003, that's when the Newport, Kentucky one came. They also opened one in China.
Oh, wow.
And then 2004, they opened one in Sin City, Las Vegas.
Okay.
So
all right.
that one, I've actually personally been to that one. I've gotten spanked, shots of Jaeger.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, let's back up a minute here. But you got to spank with Jaeger. Okay,
that's
we're
not
good.
the purity laws. That's not it.
So I definitely recommend going there. Ask for Anna. She'll,
good.
She'll take care of you there.
Okay, firm hand.
Very much so. She's about 6'4".
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
she's from Germany.
Does she look like me?
No comment on that one there. And then, then 2000, I think Pittsburgh was in like 2006, 2013 Chicago, 14 Cleveland, Columbus, 2015 St. Pete, and then actually this past year, Belleville, which is right outside of St. Louis, Missouri. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I go home now, which is like twice a year,
I
can go enjoy some Hofbrau. And,
okay.
Do you get spanked there too, or?
I don't know.
Well, so what happens in October?
Oktoberfest
obviously,
beer.
Obviously the game changes.
So we kind of made a comment about that earlier. So I'm very fortunate I get to go over this year to experience that with our company. It's a company meeting.
Okay.
So we got to talk about business.
Love that.
We might have a few liters.
Yeah.
A few hundred liters. Who knows? But
So
Oktoberfest. Basically, it's we're the true original Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Most people when they have the Oktoberfest, and we apologize for not having it here today, but it'll be
Yeah,
out soon.
it's all right.
So our Oktoberfest is actually very different than other Oktoberfests. There's a lot of great ones out there. Most of them are Marzen-style Oktoberfests. Ours is actually a pale lager, so completely different than like the Sam Adams of the world. They make a phenomenal Oktoberfest, but completely different. If you compare them side to side, hold them up, two different complete beers. So our Oktoberfest makes up probably 20-30% of our sales. So
Really?
people go crazy over it. It's the true original Oktoberfest that was actually served in the tent in Munich.
Okay.
So it actually started as a wedding celebration,
Yeah.
and
1810.
1810.
Really?
And what they would do, well, he
Look at
talked
this guy
about
over here.
he talked about he talked about Martins. And they would take the beer and they would brew it in March, and then they would lock it or lager it away in caves because it had the temperature that they needed, and then they would bring it out to celebrate Oktoberfest. That's kind of where lagers really got their start, and where the Martins got their start as well. So it's kind of a cool history going back. And one day I want to make it out there to the beer fest out there, the Oktoberfest. I want to ask you a question. Are we going to see a chug from the 1 liter on chuggers?
Oh, it has to happen, right?
I mean, I guess I have to come back up for that. At some
You
point.
you have to, right? Because you're on. We've talked about chuggers on here.
No, I never
so
heard of it.
You're so
What?
cool part. Jeremy, that was in here with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Who started the whole chugger thing.
Yeah.
They used to work for the same company.
Oh.
Doing the same thing, so they know each other,
We
and
go
that's
back.
that's
Okay.
what you're going to find in the craft beer world and the beer world.
Different business
People
cards,
cross.
names stay the same.
Right.
They stay the same. You cross
That's it.
paths all the time.
So,
Sometimes
personal friend.
Sometimes you like them because they're in your house. Sometimes you hate them because they're in the neighbor's house. So you get them all set.
Well, the unifying quality beer.
It does. It brings
brings us
everybody
all
together.
together.
We
Brings
all.
everybody
We
together.
would never hang out otherwise.
So back to that. You're going to do a chug of 1 liter out there.
You're being bullied.
Yeah.
We can dub
Are we
in.
cutting the commercial break?
We can dub in no at any time.
But
It could happen.
it could happen.
Okay.
So now we're looking forward to it, and like I say, we just picked these guys up about 2 months ago. I'm
Awesome.
super excited
Yeah.
about getting them out there and kind of going. And we're doing a slow roll, so we're not hurting them. We want to make sure we get the right product in, get everything in, and get it out there. So you're going to start seeing it pick up by next year when we have him back. It'll be everywhere.
Well, certainly over the next few weeks, we'll be making sure people know they need to grab that product. But
Absolutely.
then it's year round, as you said. It's not just
Year-round
October.
beer.
The German brewers are amazing. They're one. In fact, a lot of the Americans for a long time would actually go to Germany and brew with the German brewers to bring their trade back here and perfect what they had here. The nice part is Germany's opened up and is starting to bring American brewers over there, realizing that okay, we're going to brew sometimes outside of Reinheitsgebot. Not the guys that have been around since the 1500s, but some of the newer ones, and they're bringing Americans over there, going, okay, what are you doing? And they're taking that and tweaking it on their own. So beer is, people don't realize it's great for the world, man. It built the pyramids.
Yeah.
It did all that stuff.
You got my grass cut late yesterday?
Absolutely. My dentist helps me out because
Yeah.
I give him
Yeah,
beer.
that's
It
right.
just works
Exactly.
out all the time. Beer is a great tool.
I want to give a shout out to a gentleman by the name of Fred Schumacher. So
Okay.
Fred Schumacher, when I first got the beer business in St. Louis, our wholesaler sold Hofbrau. Fred just passed away last April,
Yeah.
but Fred's the guy that brought Hofbrau to America in
Really?
1997. So
Awesome.
he's the guy that brought this wonderful beer here.
Really?
Unfortunately, that guy, I think he retired, and like 6 months later, the guy just he died.
Wow. Work was
a
it.
workhorse,
Yeah.
In fact, those mini kegs that you see that like other breweries use,
5 liter,
that was
yeah.
his company that created that too.
Was it really?
Yeah. So
Oh, that's awesome.
So Fred, can we get a little toast here for Fred?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I was-
let's get that going. Yeah.
Fred was a great guy. He was like, it's like riding with your grandpa.
Yeah.
When you go sell beer, he's like, do they have the Hofbrau?
Oh, that's.
Are we gonna have a Hofbrau today? So
impression.
what a great guy.
What a
So,
voice.
want to give a shout out to Fred and a cheers for bringing this wonderful
Absolutely.
beer.
Let's do this. And don't forget, of course, and by the way, YouTube, if you're hearing this and not seeing this, YouTube and the 95.7 The Hog page right there has the brew review. Of course, that's our Parad's page. Any of those will link off there. You can see the full video here.
Go out to that video. I'm telling you guys, there's
That's right.
a lot more that happens behind the scenes. So make sure you check it out. It's awesome. So cheers.
I'm going to send this one out to Angela Merkel, too.
Angela Merkel.
Yes, that's right.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And if you guys are listening to this, go ahead and haul ass over to Bruce Rossmeyer's Daytona, or Bruce Rossmeyer's Harley Davidson. We're giving away some tickets, aren't we?
Yeah, well, that's right. We've got Leonard Skinner, one of the original German bands. Leonard Skinner, of course, with Kid
Wrong.
Rock, also a deep German heritage, will be playing next Sunday. We've got tickets to give away. So we got to go. You want to go with us? You guys want to go? Joe, why don't you just ride with us? We'll
Let's
get
see
an
what we
Uber.
can do.
I like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's
we
roll
got
with what we
a
can.
staff Uber driver.
got a staff
so we're gonna
Uber?
head over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, I
nice.
think we're taking the chopper.
Are you taking the chopper?
Yeah.
All right.
Get to the chopper.
Come and see us. Come and see us at Bruce Rothmeyer's Daytona.
Speaking of German,
Davidson. Destination Daytona. Don't go to Germany. Just go down over there to Ormond Beach. We'll see you in just a minute. Cheers.
Cheers.
hello, cheers.